Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
A magic beyond anything you could ever imagine.
You are now listening to the Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Sagrera Farms on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Locking down the middle of the day.
You really think that's the best idea?
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio, this is Hunt Palmer.
It's quite a piece of work.
All right, hour 2 here, Thursday edition Hunt Palmer Show. We're brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Going to talk some baseball here. The MLB draft starts on Sunday evening. First 3 rounds are Sunday. Then they'll crank out 4 through 20 on Monday. And it's big time for this LSU baseball program. I wrote this at LouisianaSports.net for those that have trouble following, whether you're on YouTube or listening on radio. You can read it all on LouisianaSports.net. I've got some highlights up of some of the players as well. I've done my digging, and I put this caveat out every year. The draft is incredibly fickle. And what players and coaches think on Monday may turn out to be true and may turn out to be completely false. Some players purport to have a number. Sometimes they make teams meet it. Sometimes they don't. So when I tell you that I have leans on these guys, by no circumstance am I suggesting that I know what's going to happen. It is a complete crapshoot based on slot values, bonus pools, player evaluations, picks in front of or behind these other picks. It goes haywire every single year, and there are things that I write about and talk about that come true, and there are things that absolutely do not. So I'm just giving you a guide and my information as it stands today. I made phone calls, I've talked to some folks, and then I read too, just like you can, and kind of get a sense of where things stand. It's a crapshoot, but let's get into it. So I've got a list of 6 guys that I think are very, 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 very likely to sign professional contracts and never come to LSU. Brady Ebel is the first. He's an infielder from California, 6'3", left-handed hitter, great hitter. His dad is the third base coach for the Dodgers, just grown up in Major League Baseball and professional baseball, and I just don't think a California kid with those deeper roots and this kind of profile is going to make it to college, so I cross him off my list. Jaden Fauske is here at summer school. He is as talented a dude as there is in this signing class. He is 6'3". He can play center field. He can play third base or first base. He can play second base. He can play right field. He's a 5-tool player. He's got great athleticism, and I don't think it would be a huge shock if he went in the first 40 picks of the draft. LSU's pitch is, hey, come here for a couple of years, 3 years, and go 5th in the draft. Sign for $7 million. I think he probably signs for 3 in the late first round of this draft. But he's here on campus right now at summer school. But that's my judge on Fauske. I don't think he shows up. River Hamilton is a right-handed pitcher from Oregon. He had committed to Oregon State, flipped to LSU. He throws 95 miles an hour, big frame at 6'5". I don't think he ends up at LSU. I think he becomes a professional. Landon Hodge is a catcher from the state of California. He hits left-handed. That's a really nice perk for a catcher. And the scouts in Southern California, I think, are on him. The big deal here is I tell you about a catcher who's a potential draft pick and going, man, those are tough to get to campus. LSU got Cade Arambidi to campus last year, and Omar Cerna from Texas is opted out of the draft, and he's on campus. So you've gotten a big talent in this past freshman class and this coming freshman class. So you're talented at catcher, even if Hodge does go in the draft, and I anticipate that he will. Miguel Syme, right-handed pitcher from New York. He's 6'4". He throws 101. Hard to imagine him at LSU as well. I cross him off the list. And then Quentin Young, infielder and outfielder from California, just a big 6'5" stud of an athlete. His uncles are Delman and Dimitri Young, who had great careers in the Major League Baseball, and I think he'll follow in that footstep. If you remember, LSU's had some trouble with MLB pedigree guys. Delano DeShields Jr. His dad was in the MLB for a long time. He doesn't make it to campus. Cam Caminiti, nephew of late Ken Caminiti, Christian Cairo, Miguel Cairo's son, who LSU thought they were going to get as a shortstop, never ended up here. That's kind of what you're looking at here with Quentin Young. So Quentin Young, Miguel Syme, Landon Hodge, River Hamilton, Jordan Foskey, Brady Ebel. That is 6 guys that I don't think LSU is going to get. You move on from those guys. Here are the guys that I do believe in this signing class are likely to come to school. Jonah Ace is a left-handed pitcher from the state of Washington. He tore his UCL in December. Had to have Tommy John. That means he almost certainly is going to end up at LSU just coming off the injury. Mason Braun is a first baseman from Indiana. He's a great hitter. Really, really good hitter. But he's 6 feet tall, and he can only really play first base. So he's limited in his upside. He's not 6'5". He's not got massive power because of that or long levers. And because he's left-handed, he's kind of married to first base. So he looks like a great college player to me. He just rakes from South Bend, Indiana. ESPN's got him rated number 231 on their prospect list. He's also a pretty athletic defender for the college level. He's not a huge target, but I think he's got a chance to be a really good player, and they feel like they got a good chance to get Mason Braun. Ethan Klaus is a left-handed hitting infielder. He's a shortstop from Vegas. Jay Johnson loves left-handed hitting infielders. Tanner Reeves, Stephen Milam, these are guys he really prioritizes in his signing classes because there are not a lot of them because they have to throw right-handed, and there just aren't a lot of guys that turn around and hit left-handed. Josh Smith was a great one here at LSU before Jay Johnson got here. Ethan Klaus is a really good prospect. He's got good size. He really looks the part. I've got a video of him in the story I wrote for LouisianaSports.net of him just launching one from the left side. I think there's a good chance he makes it to campus as well. William Patrick, this is a huge one. He's from Louisiana, from Funroe, went to St. Fred's, my rival high school growing up in Shreveport, and he is just an incredible athlete. You're talking about a guy who set a record. Exactly. He set an event record, not a guy like, a guy who set a perfect game record with the 60-yard dash earlier this year, like the best in the history of the event. He's got a 99th percentile throwing arm from the outfield as well. He's played a lot of sports growing up. He's not as polished as some of the other guys who are lifer baseball guys, but he is a freak athlete. If LSU can get him through the draft, he could be a star. In terms of the tools, it's Matuk-esque, you just big arm, big run, big bat, big power, the whole thing. And Matuk blossomed into the SEC Player of the Year. And Patrick has those kind of tools. You would love to get him into the mix in the outfield. Then you've got a couple guys that I don't think are big draft risks. Jack Rucker, the Catholic High shortstop, great player. I think he's going to be really good at LSU. I don't think he'll be a drafted guy. And then Zion Theophilus is a right-handed pitcher from Ohio who's here in summer school, 6'2", throws a lot of strikes, not a fireballer. I think they got a real chance to get him to campus. So you're looking at these guys that I think are likely to come to LSU. Now you've got the toss-ups, which is tough. Because this is where the thing swings to, okay, you lost 7 to, okay, you lost 11. And that's a big deal. If you're Jay Johnson, you're going to go take risks in your high school signings. You can do that now with the transfer portal. There was a time where if you allowed 11 of your high school signees to sign professionally, you don't have a roster. That's not the case anymore. So you got to take these risks, and these are some of those risks. Briggs McKenzie, some people have in the back end of the first round. He's a left-handed pitcher from North Carolina, and I think there's a chance LSU can get him. There's a good chance he goes, but I think there's a chance that LSU can get him. He's 6'2", 93 on the fastball. It comes out really easy. There's a feeling that there's 96, 97 in that left arm. Does he take the $1.2 million this year? Or does he look at Cade Anderson, sign him for $9 million and go, I'd rather do that? Does he do what Kevin Gosman, Chase Shore, some of these high-profile high school arms do and pick LSU? I think he's going to sign professionally. But, man, if they can get Briggs McKenzie, the left-hander from North Carolina, that would be huge. This is the guy I've circled in this class that I think is a toss-up that I'd really like to get. Full disclosure, I've done this on the show. You can go back and look at these segments. Brady Neal was that 3 years ago. That didn't work out. Cade Arambidi was that this past year. We'll see. Stephen Milam was that guy 2 years ago. That's been big. So Dean Moss, to me, is such a good hitter. But I don't know that he's a center fielder. I don't know that he's an elite runner. I don't know that he's got an elite arm. I don't know that he's going to hit for a ton of power. He's got some pop. If you see the video that I've got in the story that I wrote, he's got a 107-mile-an-hour exit velo home run that he put on his Twitter page. But, man, he can hit. I mean, he hits. He's left-handed. He can hit. He finds the barrel without a flashlight. Does the MLB value that where the other tools may not be quite there? We'll see. But if they can get Dean Moss through, that's a guy that I think hits in the middle of your order and hits a ton of line drives. I love Dean Moss. Marcos Paz is one of the last ones here. This is a guy that Kylie McDaniel put in his ESPN article that ranked the top 250 prospects. He would be a tough sign. The reason he would be a tough sign is because he had Tommy John his junior year. And so if he's like Cade Anderson, who had Tommy John his junior year, maybe the pro scouts want to wait. Maybe he thinks that he's not quite at his best, where he's showing his best to the scouts, and he can do that when he comes to LSU. He's from Texas, and that's where the Case and Evans comparisons could come in. But this is a guy I think helps next year if you can get him through the draft. But if there's an organization that feels like LSU does, that like this guy's going to be a star, even though he's been hurt, they may take it. Just a question of can he stick to his number. But Marcos Paz, I think, could be a really, really big add to this class. And the last name is a recognizable name, Reagan Ricken. Reagan Ricken is 6'5". He's a right-handed pitcher, played high school quarterback, big breaking ball, and his fastball is clocked to 97. I think he could be a monster prospect if he comes to LSU and then gets to his draft year. Like right now, he's a little bit below the radar because he's been playing football and doing other things, but he's a big talent. And no, he's not a Louisiana kid. California's a long way away. But if they can get Reagan Ricken to camp, to school, he's got the ability to focus all that athleticism on just pitching. It's easy to see the fastball 97, 98 and a big breaking ball from a 6'5" frame. Like, I think they've got a real chance to get Ricken in. But we'll see. It's a fickle process. So here are my toss-ups. Briggs McKenzie, lefter from North Carolina. I think he probably signs and goes pro. Dean Moss, outfielder from California. I think he probably signs and goes pro, but man, I would love to get him in. Marcos Paz, coming off injury, right-hander, throws hard, could be a real impact guy. I think they get him to campus. And Reagan Ricken, right-handed pitcher from California, 97-mile-an-hour fastball, big spinner, high school quarterback. I think they can get him to campus as well. That's my look at this thing. If you want to bookmark this and have it for Sunday and Monday when the draft cranks up, it's on LouisianaSports.net for free. It's on my Twitter profile for free. I'm going to retweet it out on Sunday and again on Monday to be looking at it. And we'll have a draft tracker up on Sunday and Monday, even for media days, to kind of monitor this as it moves forward. But you're talking about a 17-guy signing class of high school players. I think only like 3 of them are like not risked really at all. There's 14 of the others. I've pigeonholed 6 as I don't think any LSU can get them. That leaves 8. If you could get 5 of the 8, that'd be good. If you could get 7 of the 8, that'd be phenomenal. If you get 2 of the 8, you've really been gutted. That's kind of where you are. It's a stressful time for that baseball program over across the street, but it helps to ease some stress when you got a second trophy in that coach's office. So LSU's always going to have signing classes with huge risks. This year, the feeling, and J.J. Doyle tweeted this out earlier today, professional organizations feel like they're going to have the opportunity to sign a lot of high schoolers for like $600,000-$700K because a lot of premier high school players are going to a school that's already loaded up in the transfer portal, and then they're not playing as much, and their development's hurt because they're not playing. It's not all Derek Curiel. It's not all Case and Evans. Sometimes it's William Schmidt, like he didn't pitch a ton. Sometimes it's Cade Arambidi, like he didn't play a ton. And I don't say that's a detriment. I think both those two guys are going to go off this summer and develop their game, and I think they're going to be big parts to next year's team and then big parts of the next year's team. But just for an example, like you've got guys that are going places and not playing a lot. And the one thing that they can guarantee you, if you get plugged into high A and you're a 5th-round pick, you're going to play. So I still think that college baseball is a very, very attractive place to be. But the landscape is changing, and it's not me that's telling you that it's tough to get on the field in college. This is what the advisors and agents are telling some of their clients. And it's an interesting dynamic. One of the most interesting things I monitor every year. And if you want to read about it, you can over at LouisianaSports.net. Thursday show is brought to you by Sagrera Farms, premium Angus beef. Literally some of the best beef in the United States right here, just outside Baton Rouge at Sagrera Farms. If you want tender, juicy, flavorful beef that's consistent every single time, you don't have to worry where your beef came from. You don't have to worry how many DNAs are in that pack of ground beef that you got from the shop down the street. You don't have to worry about putting a deposit down. And you don't have to worry if it's choice, select, or prime. You're getting prime beef from Sagrera Farms. Fill that freezer up. Anytime you want to throw a steak on the grill, throw burgers on the grill. You want to do tacos with one of their great skirt or flank steaks, you can do that from Sagrera Farms. Call Sean, 719-1723, 719-1723. It's Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Still plenty to do here on this Thursday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Got about 45 minutes left of action. This is a fun story from ESPN.com. Who's Alabama's arch villain? Coming up this football season. It cracked me up. We'll talk about it next.
The Hunt Palmer Show. This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Back to your knowledge, is there like a Marvel movie with villains coming out right now? Is there some sort of...
there is actually.
There is? Okay.
Yes.
I don't know why ESPN wrote a story.
There always is, but...
Okay. I don't know why ESPN wrote a story with what every college football team's big villain's going to be.
Yeah.
That's beyond my purview, but I found it funny just to read it, even though I didn't know the genesis of it. So there's some kind of Ant-Man or,
Ant-Man's not a villain, but...
No, I know he's not a villain, but every movie's got a villain. It's like, Batman movie, like he's not a villain, but he's got villains that happen. So something going on, whatever. I think this is hilarious. It goes through and it takes every top 25 team and gives their potential villain for this coming football season. So like, for example, Penn State's is Ryan Day. Ryan Day has shoved James Franklin in a locker since Ryan Day took that job. And that's very obvious, and that's why he's their biggest villain. For Clemson, it's Lenora Sellers, quarterback at South Carolina. For Georgia, number 4 in the preseason rankings, like it's Alabama. They are beating the brains out of everybody, and they can't beat Alabama. You get to Alabama's villain, and I chuckled at my desk when I scrolled to it. You want to guess?
Kalen DeBoer?
No, he's on the team, so he's not going to be.
Yeah, but I thought, the fans are...
Well, okay, the fan base at that point would be the villain.
That's true.
It's your boys. Your guys from Nashville.
The Commodores?
The Commodores are the villain for Alabama. I had to read this further.
Wow.
But it said, remember when Nick Saban won 100 straight games against unranked opponents, the longest such streak in the AP poll era? Now, all of a sudden, the Crimson Tide are 2-3 against their last 5 unranked foes, a stretch that started by losing to Vanderbilt 40-35. That came only a week after DeBoer beat number 2 Georgia in the SEC opener. First time Bama had lost to Vanderbilt since 1984, and Bama gets its shot at payback against the Commodores on October the 4th. The loss to Vanderbilt a year ago ignited what was the first 3-loss regular season for Alabama since 2010, and judging by some of the comments from the Alabama players this offseason, no one will need to remind the Tide when the Commodores are coming to town. This is what has happened to Alabama football in the course of 16 months. They have gone from preseason number 1 every year to ESPN writing about how Vanderbilt
is their villain,
has become the villain of Alabama football.
Anchor down.
That is what we have come to. Now, I'm not here to tell you whether or not I think that's the correct assessment.
I mean, what are the other options we have?
I would suggest Josh Heupel's offense has been a problem for them for the last 2 times.
That's fair.
They've played Tennessee and Knoxville. Now, they don't play Tennessee and Knoxville this year, but that offense still. I would suggest that maybe the ghost of Nick Saban is a villain for them because going 9-3 is completely unacceptable in Tuscaloosa.
That's fair. I think that's pretty.
But
pretty
Vanderbilt is hilarious.
It is.
We had that was an off weekend for LSU when Bama beat when Vandy beat Bama, and I played in a golf tournament that Saturday morning because LSU was off, and yes, there was an open bar at the golf tournament. If you were curious,
okay, so you had a few cold pops.
Allegedly. I'm not here to confirm or deny here. You'll have to talk to my representation.
All right.
But to be in that state of mind and returning back to the Metairie estate of my good buddy and watching that football game was one of the funniest things I did all fall last year. And I know that LSU didn't achieve very much last year and that Alabama came into Tiger Stadium and Jalen Milroe looked like Secretariat running the Belmont against LSU's defense in the rain. So I don't have too much of a leg to stand on here, but this is still funny. This is where we've gotten Alabama football to be. And I talked about this with J.D. Piquel in the first hour of the show, and it's one of the things that I'm excited about next week. You'll hear me talk about this tomorrow, and I'll preface a lot of my conversation from Atlanta next week with this. But I'm fascinated by the vibes around programs, according to the media and beat writers, more so generally than what the coaches have to say, what do the players have to say. Every year there are certainly exceptions to that, but I've found it in my time following media days. And I want to hear what people think about Alabama. I want to know. Like right now, they've got 5 stars committed in this class that's about to be seniors. And DeBoer's won everywhere he's been. And they had some impressive performances last year. Like that win over Georgia was damn impressive. What they did in Tiger Stadium was damn impressive. And they looked like garbage against Vanderbilt and garbage against Oklahoma. And I just want to know what people think. Because as I told JD last year, like last hour, I was like, Bama hasn't been interesting in July since the mid-2000s. It's just, okay, here's another army of 5 stars. They're going to go 11-1 or 12-0, and they're probably going to play for the championship. Like that's been Bama in July for 2 decades. What are they now? I don't know. Do you? I know what you hope. You hope it's a disaster. You hope Vanderbilt is their villain. But I don't know what it's going to be. I'm fascinated to hear what people say. I'm intrigued to read more about this Alabama roster and what people think. All I know is this. Saban ain't coaching them. So there's volatility and variability in that. Everybody else deals with volatility and variability. Every week, every season, every recruiting class, every coordinator hire, it's up and down. Everybody else deals with that. Bama didn't have to deal with that for 20 years. They do now. So Vanderbilt is their villain. For those curious, as it relates to LSU, South Carolina's villain this year is LSU. So South Carolina's got a share of hated rivals, Georgia and Clemson, anyone who plays Sandstorm during timeouts. But the Gamecocks looking to make a playoff run in 2025, and enemy number 1 might be LSU. LSU's dominated South Carolina over the years, 18-2 all time. They've won 8 straight, dating back to 1995. More importantly, LSU escaped Columbia last year with a 36-33 win that the Gamecocks blew a 4-point lead with less than 2 minutes to play in. That loss ultimately cost South Carolina a playoff bid, and Gamecocks feel like they're a far better team than they were last year. If they can get some revenge on LSU, it'll be a big step towards reaching those lofty goals. So that's interesting. LSU's villain is daytime home games. Talking about playing at night against Florida, but then home games against South Carolina A&M might be flexed as early as 2:30, though they theoretically could be 7 o'clock. LSU since 2000, 112-15 in Saturday night home games. Brian Kelly has faced just 2 nationally ranked SEC opponents in day games at Tiger Stadium, is 1-1. Of course, that Tennessee blowout was the loss in the Brian Kelly era. I'd rather play at night at home. I tell you all that we're going to play Louisiana Tech or ULL, I'd rather play at 11 o'clock in the morning so I can get home. But I realize that that's not my call and that y'all don't want to do that. So I don't put that on y'all. I just react when that announcement comes that, hey, I'll live, but I don't think there's going to be a lot of daytime home games.
Yeah, let's just assess.
They're going to put those in at night.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, I don't see any way that. I mean, both of, whenever LSU plays South Carolina, Texas A&M, both of those teams should be in a pretty good position record-wise. LSU as well. So I don't. Besides, South Carolina or Texas A&M coming in with like 2 or 3 losses at that point, I don't see how that would not be night game.
I will say this. LSU, I don't believe, gets preferential treatment necessarily.
So you don't agree with Lane Kiffin, is what you're saying?
On the whole, I will suggest that LSU, if they're looking at 2, and one game's going to be in Athens and one game's going to be at LSU, they're probably going to put LSU at night. If you want to call that preferential treatment, fine. But LSU also got saddled with Florida permanently for 3 decades. So you go ahead and take what you want. But LSU, to me, they tend to err on the side of night games with the understanding they do play day games. Tennessee came here and played during the day. Seen Kentucky and Arkansas coming here at 11 o'clock in the morning too. So it's not universal. They don't just rule it out. But I think if there's an opportunity to flex it, LSU generally is going to be on the night side time of that. So interesting story on ESPN, just kind of a summer filler deal. You can laugh at Alabama if you'd like. Let's go back and do some more. Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Love telling you about Genesis of Baton Rouge. You can find the entire inventory at genesisofbatonrouge.com. No matter what your lifestyle is, your family situation is, your preference in car is, whether you'd like to drive a sedan, whether you'd like to drive your whole big family in the SUV, they've got an option for you at Genesis of Baton Rouge, and it's going to be a luxury vehicle and a luxury experience. How about valet maintenance? That's a big deal. You don't want to sit there on the service aisle for 6 hours while somebody tries to fix your car. We've all done it. How about dealing with the oil change, the wiper fluid, the air filter, while you're still getting things done? Whether that's moving around your day in a loaner car or whether that's just them coming to get your vehicle. Either way, they can get that done for you at Genesis of Baton Rouge. And by the way, the service aisle, cleanest service aisle I've ever seen. It's part of a phenomenal facility, their airline at PQ. I've seen a lot of service aisles. Was in the insurance business and did a lot of business with car dealerships. And you've seen some service aisles that are not so clean. This one, Genesis, real clean. The people, phenomenal. Facility, first class, line of vehicles, incredible. If you've never been behind the wheel of a Genesis, just go see them. Airline at PQ across from Women's Hospital. Say, hey, heard about y'all on Hunt Show. Love to come in and test drive a vehicle. They'd love to have you there at Genesis of Baton Rouge. It's a luxury experience at a reasonable price. Genesis of Baton Rouge. Find them online, genesisofbatonrouge.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
All right, chugging along here. Thursday shows brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Some of the best beef in the United States of America. Top 1% nationwide is right here, just outside Baton Rouge. If you're interested in a side of beef, in a quarter, or a whole cow, Sean Sagrera can help you out with that. All of it's prime. You can be guaranteed in that. And every cow on that farm is a 3-year journey. Raised on grass, finished on grain, aged 45 days, never going to use steroids, never going to improperly use antibiotics, and you can know where your beef comes from. You don't have to ask questions. Is this prime beef? Is this farm raised? Is this injected with steroids? Is this thousands of DNAs in one package? You don't have to ask those questions. You'll know. It's a process. It's a process Sean takes pride in. They're consistent. And it's phenomenal in terms of his product. Sean dropped off a bunch of meat last week. I've been very fortunate to grill up a ribeye, use some of their ground beef as well. It is fantastic. Once you try it, you'll believe it. It's Sagrera Farms. Call Sean, 719-1723. All right, the news of the day, Lamar Brown picks LSU. Huge get for LSU. and the coaching staff to get Lamar Brown in the boat. You're talking about now on Rivals/On3, the number 5 class in the country, and that's important when you go, well, there's 4 better. Now, LSU's got 15 commitments, 15. Notre Dame's got 25, A&M's got 24, Georgia's got 27, and USC's got 31. So you're talking about rivaling those teams in the recruiting rankings, which does take into account, like, how many players, like, you're 10, 16 short of those teams in terms of the quantity. But in terms of quality, it's as good as anybody in the country. And your average rating on that website of 92.47 is the highest in the country. You've got 3 5-stars. Only Alabama with 5 has more. You got 9 4-stars and 3 3-stars. So right now, this LSU class, while it is low on numbers, is so high on quality. Tristan Keys, 5-star, number 1 wide receiver in the country. Lamar Brown, 5-star, number 1 athlete, D lineman in the country. Richard Anderson, 5-star, number 1 defensive lineman in the country. Number 2 player in the state. Trenton Henderson, 5-star on 24/7, 4-star on 3 Rivals. He would be, if you put them together, your 4th 5-star recruit in this class. And so LSU continues to put in work both nationally and locally, where we know that it's very, very important for LSU to hold serve in the state. And with Lamar Brown's commitment, LSU continues to inch forward in closing down the state. You've got Lamar Brown, looking at Rivals and 20 and on 3's rankings. You've got Lamar Brown, you got Richard Anderson, that's 1 and 2. Blaine Bradford is committed to Ohio State. He's number 3. Then you've got Jabari Mack, who's number 4. Aiden Hall, who's number 5. Bryce Martinez, who's number 6. Kenny Darby, who's number 7. Of the top 7, you've already got 6 committed. So to me, it's a great job by this LSU staff. It's a great job of holding down the front at home. And we'll see what Blaine Bradford's fall looks like. He's a kid with a really good head on his shoulders. He's a Catholic high guy. He knows everything there is to know about LSU. His brother's on the team. They're going to continue to recruit him. They're going to continue to make their pitch, and maybe he gets a change of heart and decides he wants to stay home and play with the other 6 best of the 7 players in the state. Maybe he wants to spread his wings and go play at Ohio State. But while that was a setback in the recruitment, to lose a top 3 or 4 safety in the country right out of your backyard, you've hammered down on the rest. Lamar Brown, Richard Anderson, Jabari Mack, Aiden Hall, Kenny Darby, Bryson Martinez, like big-time stuff for LSU. And so I think that it's important to judge the quality and the quantity of your signing class. If you've got a monster portal class, like, well, you can sign a monster. You can't sign a monster high school class. If you sign a monster high school class, you don't sign a monster portal class. And right now, LSU's numbers into the next roster building cycle are light on high school players today. Doesn't mean that it won't change over the next 5 months. And then you take an assessment of where you are and you move forward. But as I said at the top of the show today, this is a huge get for LSU because you've got to get these guys on the roster. You've got to get the big-time Louisiana kids to commit. It's less important now that you've got the transfer portal, but it's still very important. You need Will Campbell. You need Emory Jones. You need Tradez Green. You need Malik Dabers. You need Brian Thomas. You need those guys. And sometimes Lance Hurd bolts after a year. And sometimes Blaine Bradford decides he wants to go elsewhere. You can't get them all. But the foundation of this football program is always, always, always going to be within these borders. The best LSU football teams are always powered by Louisiana kids. And that doesn't change when you hire a coach with a national brand, and that doesn't change when NIL gets introduced, and that doesn't change when the transfer portal gets introduced. You need guys from this state to make it work. You got to supplement it, and recruiting nationally is good. But locking these guys down is awesome. Like I was looking at LSU's baseball signing class. You got 2 guys from Louisiana. And LSU baseball can do that. You can do it with Skeens and Cruz and White. Now, that team had Beloso and Jobert and Dugas and Trey Morgan, but it also had Ty Floyd, Riley Cooper. It had Milazzo and Travinsky from here, but you had Thompson. Like, you really can spread your wings with baseball because there are so few schools that care about baseball. You can cherry pick. It's tough to cherry pick in football because everybody cares. And we care a lot in this state, and the high school kids care a lot in this state. And when you can get those guys to stay home, it's a big, big deal. So it's a hat tip to the LSU coaching staff and a hat tip to Lamar Brown. And this is not about him picking LSU, because you can go back to yesterday's tape when he had not picked LSU and nobody had a crystal ball on him with any confidence whatsoever. Nobody had a recruiting prediction machine with a ton of confidence. Nobody felt like they knew. And I said on yesterday's show, that's a credit to Lamar Brown and his camp. You're not making promises. You're not committing and bailing. You're just taking your visits. You're properly evaluating. He knew that Texas A&M was his second school. He went there 10, 12 times. Good on you. That's a good thing to do. But he never shut LSU out. He didn't cancel a visit to LSU. He gave LSU every opportunity as well. He surveyed his options. He didn't promise anybody anything. It came time to do his commitment. He sat down when it was commitment time. He told ESPN2, this is what I'm doing. Here you are. And that's a good way to handle things. We're not to the finish line. Everyone knows that. But I said this yesterday pre-LSU. I'll say it now post-LSU. It was well done by Lamar Brown, his family, his camp, and a great job by LSU staff to get him in the boat here in this class of 2026, which now LSU's ranks 5th, according to Rivals and On 3. All right, if you're looking for LSU football content, you can find it at LouisianaSports.net as well as Hunt on LSU. We'll come back and close up shop here on a Thursday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com is that website. Captives. I'll tell you about it a couple times a week, but it's very important. If you're a CFO, risk manager, business owner, and you feel like you're just really leveraged on your insurance and you feel like you're spending too much and you don't have a real creative answer. You just get the renewal in, you sign for the 20% increase, you sign for the 19% increase. It's just frustrating. I get it. And there may be an alternative. And Jonathan Carbo and his team at the Highland Insurance Group handle captives every single day. If you'd like an alternative solution, potentially for your insurance woes when it comes to pricing, this could be a game changer for you and your business. Maybe your broker doesn't have access to captives. Jonathan Carver and his team, they're independent. They do. They handle it all the time. If you feel like you pay a lot, you want to hear about another option, the captive is your friend if you fit. Jonathan Carbo can help you with that at the Highland Insurance Group. Check them out online, HighlandIG.com. They're based right here in Baton Rouge, can help you out statewide as well. It's the Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Fun show, fast-moving show. Missed any of it, catch it on demand wherever you find your sound. Went through the entirety of LSU's baseball high school signing class. That's up at LouisianaSports.net if you like to read it. If you want to listen, catch it on demand wherever you find your sound. Started the show off with big news. LSU lands Lamar Brown. Also had some fun with J.D. Piquel talking college football. We're going to catch up with J.D. in Atlanta next week as well. So a lot to look forward to next week, but a lot to look back on this week as well. And we got a lot to do on tomorrow's show. Talk to Preston Guy of TigerBait.com about LSU's one big commitment. We're hoping for another one here in about 10 minutes. And we'll get deeper into the draft as well with MLB coming up on Sunday and into Monday. So plenty to do here over the course of the next 2 days. And we'll hit the road on Sunday for SEC Media Days next week from the ATL. One order of business left on this Thursday, brought to you by Sagrera Farms. And it is, take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Presented to you by Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer, crafted by America's oldest brewery. Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
You know, you don't have to trade taste for stats when you go for light beer. Like, light on calories, full on flavor is what Flight by Yingling is all about. It's a perfect summer beer. It's light, it's refreshing, and it's light on calories and carbs. So if you're looking for something right up that alley and the heat is hitting you here in South Louisiana, at the pool, on the golf course, on the grill, or certainly tailgating come September, Light by Yingling. Keep it in mind, the next generation of light beer.
All righty, first one here. The Phoenix Suns and Devin Booker agreed to a 2-year, $145 million extension yesterday, giving Booker the highest annual extension salary in NBA history at $72.7 million. Booker will make more a year than the total team salaries of the San Jose Sharks, the Miami Marlins, and Anaheim Ducks. Booker making more than a professional team. Take it or leave it.
I'll leave it. That's
Leave it alone.
Bad ownership by those teams in the other sports.
Oh, yeah, and just by the way, he's not too far behind the White Sox and the Athletics.
I'm sure he's not, and they don't try either. So
Nope.
that's just how that goes. The NBA players just make so much money. It's unbelievable.
It is.
How much NBA players make. But he's really good. He's had a great career, and the Suns haven't been able to get over the hump with him.
Yeah.
So they've tried every superstar they can find, Durant and Paul and everybody that cycles through there, and it just hadn't clicked quite yet for the Suns. I don't know that it's going to with a $75 million player, but here we go.
Yeah, I saw Shams one of his tweets because whenever it's a big move like this, that the insiders make like 5 tweets, and one of the ones was saying how Booker wanted to commit to staying in Phoenix and was trying to be good to the city. I'm like, he's gonna get paid $72 million.
$72 million.
I'm sure he loves Phoenix, but I mean, come on, like what are we talking about here? All right, next
I would like
one.
to go to Phoenix, by the way, just as an aside. I would like to go
definitely.
there.
We need to go. We need to go one at some point. Play some golf for sure. All right, next one. Speaking of golf, Caden Fioroni playing on the PGA Tour of Americas. He made a walk-off albatross. We got the video here, and he set the course record of 60 in doing so at the Bromont Open in Canada. An albatross on 18 to shoot 60. Take it or leave it.
I will take that.
I'll take it.
Unfortunately, that's not going to happen for me ever.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? It's possible. I mean, not to shoot 60, but you can make an albatross at least.
The problem with the albatross is I never go for par 5s.
Really?
There's one at Southern Trace in Shreveport I go for, but I mean, like the ones I rarely go for par 5s. It's just rarely do. I like to lay it up to wedge range, kind of lock in my par. If I get lucky and make a birdie, that's great.
Okay.
I'm not hitting the water up there. I'm not trying to snap it out of bounds.
You're just a very safe player, not aggressive.
I'm not an aggressive player.
And that's honestly not surprising at all. In fact, I would really be surprised if you were a very aggressive risk taker on the golf course.
I try to do things that are very doable for me, the poor golfer.
The percentages.
Where I find as though a lot of really bad golfers try to do something they see on television.
That's very true.
When they should realize, well, I'm really bad. Like, I realize I'm not going to hit a great shot with a 4-iron, 250 over water. Why don't we just hit the 6-iron down the fairway? That's what we try to do.
That's a very fair assessment. All right, how about this? Michael Jordan's old house in Chicago is going up for an Airbnb. The stats on it: 7 bedrooms, 17 and a half bathrooms, which is a lot of bathrooms.
That's a lot of bathrooms.
But it's a very large estate, and you can stay there, but it has a minimum 7-night stay and is limited to 12 guests. You must sign a liability waiver and NDA agreement. That's angry. That's extra there. You didn't need to say that. And pay $25,000 security deposit. A week-long stay could cost over 6 figures. Staying at the GOAT's house. Take it or leave it.
I'm going to pass on that.
Leave it alone.
I'm going to leave it. I can't hear Michael Jordan's name without hearing Myers say, Micah Jordan.
Oh, yeah,
because he watches Space Jam.
Perfect
he watched it
timing.
this morning. Micah Jordan.
Speaking of which, Hunt, Myers, and Keller in the Palmer house without mom for 3 days. Take it or leave it.
I don't have any choice. I don't have any choice.
I'll take it.
This could be the end of all 3 of us.
This could be
3 days with just Myers, easy.
Yeah,
3 days with just Keller, easy.
Both
3
of them,
days,
though.
just them.
What are we going to be eating? That's the real question.
Keller just has formula, so that's easy.
True. That's true.
Myers, man, we have a family-style lasagna, which generally speaking gets through 2 to 3 days. It's one of like 3 things in the world he eats, so we're going to make that happen. He only eats basically fried chicken and lasagna.
And baked ziti.
Well, sometimes. But we had fried fish 4th of July at the aunt's house. She sent us back with a lot of it. We just called it chicken. He's eating it every night.
Perfect.
If I'd have said you want some fish, he would never eat it. I told him it was chicken. He said it's great. Clown kid. Pray for me. 3 nights. We're back tomorrow.
The Hunt Palmer Show.